How we doing, everybody, and welcome back to the Catalyst, where we break down all things bullish in the crypto markets. Today, another red day, but I would like to give you guys some insight on some bullish sentiment going around involving MATIC. This is by a pretty good user here on Twitter, Raphael Signal. They cover some weekly kind of user retention analytics and similar things for MATIC. So going just kind of quickly over this, he's got quite the thread here. 11 consecutive weeks in a row with more than 200,000 addresses added. So that is obviously amazing. So as we go deeper in this, he's going to talk about analytics and the retention of said 200,000 users. So relative outperformance for 6-week retention. So you see here, kind of with each group of cohorts, the performance is improving with time and by a stronger margin. So 39 or 35 to 39 is outperforming 30 to 34, etc. So this is obviously great news to see here. Retention curves are flattening, so we're getting more consistent and sustained retention, which is really good for MATIC in general. What makes cryptos is the same thing that makes a popular website or a popular brand or a popular TV show is not only do you get the audience, but do you capture the audience? Do you get people actively using the network? That is what's important for crypto, especially for MATIC. A lot of cryptos right now are simply backed by the hype of the things that they could be doing or what they would be like. But MATIC is functioning. It's being used every single day by hundreds of thousands of users. And that's really what is going to help MATIC kind of survive any sort of bear market while also just continue to grow during that type of time frame where the market is typically somewhat bearish. So this is amazing news that is kind of leveled off there in terms of the weakening retention, which is really strong. Additionally, longer term retention is increasing at its second highest mark here. So 3 data points and 1 week retention at 23.9%, 2 data points at a 2-week retention is 16%, and 1 data point for 3-week retention is at 24%. So it looks like this. So pretty nice there. Let's take a look at this one a little bit further. Oh, whoops, there we go. So this is what we're looking at here. So we are on this one here. So you see we're actually trending upwards compared to the previous three of the previous ones. We aren't quite past this one just yet, but really strong movement there for us with MATIC. Additionally, you'll note that we are in a pretty good uptrend of users just entering the ecosystem and operating on it. So this is the 11th consecutive week above 200,000 new users and the 7th largest cohort of all time. So we see here, we've seen some previous big spikes of users coming into the space. And then obviously with some similar spikes that high, there's going to be some big pullbacks. There's no way you can retain that many users that quickly. So some people will test it out, say it's not for them, and bail out. So, even like a 30% retention rate or something even lower than that, you'll see these big drops. But what we really like here is this line, this continued growth. With each given cohort and as time goes by, we are creating higher and higher dips there. So these volatile kind of spikes should also decrease in their frequency in terms of, I guess, not only how often they occur, but in terms of how far they deviate from this trend line here. We should see spikes that are much lower. Unless there's like enormous announcements, there will still be some big spikes as we go, but not as frequent and not as disproportionately large, hopefully, as we just continue to grow here. So they do note, however, that despite the uptrend, cohort size has declined for 3 weeks in a row. So that's kind of this mark here, 1, 2, 3. So that's obviously not good. But they've decreased in size, and the chart keeps going up because there's more cohorts contributing more users, as opposed to just more users just randomly entering the space and not retaining within the space. So to wrap it up, he's talking about the ZK rollups and the acquisition of Mirror Protocol, which is obviously an amazing step for Polygon. MATIC there moving forward, as ZK rollups are kind of hyped to be that next big wave for some, the next big crypto push there. We saw the big push for the metaverse and other similar things, right? Projects are kind of cyclical, like DeFi gets really popular, then layer 2s get really popular, and so on. Like it just goes through its motions there. And ZK rollups are starting to get on the cusp of everyone's attention there and start to people are starting to pick up on that. And that's one of the potential next big targeted markets for crypto. So currently, blockchains are responsible for security, computation, and data availability, and the trade-offs are suboptimal solutions. So Polygon is moving past this monolithic era where you're kind of responsible for catering to one of those factions. So for MATIC, ETH is a settlement layer, avails for data availability, Polygon execution. So it's good that it's kind of covering all of its bases there. And ultimately, this is just a final note regarding the vision and the acquisition of Mirror Protocol and how it's been something that's been somewhat planned, and they've made a big push towards ZK rollups. And that is kind of where, the next big push is for not only crypto, but for Polygon as a whole in general. So let's look at the chart here. All right, 1 second. So we have, obviously the charts have not been looking too hot in terms of just crypto in general. Bitcoin was down again another 5% today. You see a big sell-off here. For me though, this sell-off was actually a buy signal, because we are bouncing nicely off of this support line here that we've had drawn for some weeks now. And you see we've previously kind of wicked out of it as well. So what we want to see on this guy is a nice big green candle. If we engulf this one, that would be potentially huge. So that would be, I think, 13% gains or so from here up. Yeah, 14.5% gains. So that's certainly possible. We've had plenty of days and gains similar. Our RSI is nice and leveled out now. We're at under the 50 mark. We're at 46. So that's pretty positive. The MACD, we want to see, at least a pink to show some inverted, going green there. 2 red ones in a row at the moment, which makes sense, 2 red days. So yeah, we're looking to find some support off this, and it looks like we have been or will be. You see the candle got a little bit rejected out of that. It got wicked up, which is good. So if you were able to today spot this was a pretty good entry point, especially too, we're hitting that mark, the 174 mark that we have here, this kind of channel that we've been trading in for, back as early as October, right when we got into it and broke the resistance there. We've been, in and out of it for quite some time, a couple months now. So we will see, how the rest of the day goes following, into this evening and into tomorrow morning to see, what happens with this candle. I'm expecting, I'm not necessarily expecting us to blast off through it immediately, but I am expecting us to start to test the 20 as resistance and hopefully flip that as support in the next coming days. Again, though, what's nice here is if we continue to ride this as support, eventually we'll get squeezed out over here somewhere, or somewhere sooner possibly, and it's going to force MATIC Polygon to make a decision to either break this previous resistance at the 220 mark or get rejected by it again, as we kind of have in the past a few times, like back here. This could be considered a fake out with a rejection, so we'll see what happens, but ultimately I'm pretty bullish on MATIC. Again, there's just always good news. You never hear anything bad coming out about Polygon MATIC, and I think the chart doesn't look awful. We're making higher highs, we're making higher lows at the same time, right? So I think, it seems like it's a really healthy chart for the most part. Obviously, we'll have to see, like always, what ETH is doing, what Bitcoin is doing. ETH is at a bit of a critical path here right now, right? About to enter a little death cross, and we are you know, way low. We might dip as low as 3,400. We might test the 200, which would not be ideal. This could also be kind of seen as some sort of, you know, pennant. We have been completely horizontal here for the last month. But that kind of makes sense. You know, we've ran up twice since then. So this could be considered a similar consolidation phase that we're in, kind of back here before we make another run up. Or obviously it could certainly, you know, continue to just roll over and we could dip back down, you know, as low as 1,000 for all we know. So we'll have to see what happens. But again, always keep an eye on ETH. If ETH is having a green day, there's a good chance that MATIC will soon follow, or is also at the same time. But yeah, keep an eye on this support level here that we've been talking about. And otherwise, guys, we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.